Hey, welcome. I am Jessica Green today. I want to talk to you a little bit about the entrepreneur mindset makeover. It's going beyond business and just knowing some of the things that you need to do, some of the things that make the most successful entrepreneur successful. Just want to run through some things with you today that might help you along your journey. I have been in business for over 18 years. I have owned and operated about 8 startups, some successful, some not very successful at all, but I learned a ton through that process. I also have a business degree and a minor in marketing. So along my journey, I have done the schooling for it. I've done the experience for it. I've had massive success. I've had massive failure and everything in between. And I'm hoping that some of my experience can help you in your journey. I most recently wrote a book called Superpower to Super Profits. And I love helping people along their journey figure out what they're really good at on the inside, what brings them joy, what helps them jump out of bed in the morning and go work on something that makes them happy. I think that we have a very short life and we all want to have time and money freedom. Those are the things that people really strive for, more time with their family, be able to take those vacations and have the things that they love, and to be able to enjoy life while doing it. No one wakes up in the morning and says, man, I want to go work my 9 to 5 job that brings me absolutely no joy. Lots of people put their head down on their pillow at night dreaming about success and how to achieve that, how to become their own entrepreneur, their own business owner. And I can tell you that it is massively worth it. It is absolutely and totally worth it, but it is not easy. The entrepreneurial journey, as I tell most people, is quite the roller coaster ride. But there are some things that can help you along the way. Most people don't just say, I want to become an entrepreneur when they're younger. They usually are looking at, all right, let me go to college, let me get a degree in something, let me go get a job, right? That's kind of what we're trained to believe we need to do. So most people don't go off to school or off to anything after high school or even in high school saying, I want to become an entrepreneur. Someone teach me how to become an entrepreneur. I mean, it's talked about briefly, but it's not something that most people just go to college for to become a small business owner or an entrepreneur. You might take a class on that, but it's generally not something that people major in. You can major in business administration, but I can tell you from experience, while some of the things that I learned in my college degree for a business administration degree were definitely helpful, they definitely aided in some things along the way, but I learned way more in my experience in becoming a small business owner and an entrepreneur than I ever learned in college. And I tell people that all the time because I want you to know that experience actually trumps and outweighs the education you can actually get on it. And more importantly, it's the internal factors that will help you become the most successful CEO. So most people don't, like I said, jump out of bed or decide to go to college to become an entrepreneur. They kind of fall into it because they fall in love with an idea or a concept or product or a service or an opportunity that they can bring to other people, and they decide that they want to create a business around it, or they just really cannot stand being employed, so they go on a mission to figure out how to create their own business. That was sort of me. I was just done with my 4 year college degree. I call it, I had my first big girl job for a telecommunications company. And while I really enjoyed the job and I learned a lot there and was promoted very quickly, I also realized I could not stand having someone tell me what time I had to be to work and what time I could clock out and go home. I could not stand that I had a specific lunchtime, and that if I wanted to work from home or I didn't feel well or I wanted to take vacation, I had to ask somebody else about my own freedom. That felt like trapped in a jail cell for me. And I decided that that just wasn't for me, was not meant for me. So some people take over a family business, or some people will head off to college and say, I want to become an entrepreneur. Let me, or I should say, very few head off to college and say, I want to become an entrepreneur. Let me go learn how to do that for 4 years. So, what happens is most people will become an entrepreneur or a small business owner or fall into a business or end up having to take over a family business. And then they have to lean on their experience, and need for learning becomes it becomes really important, needing to learn how to become that successful entrepreneur, going to conferences, reading books, going to YouTube University, right? Like all the things, and experience along the way is really the only thing that's going to get you there all the way. We can shorten it a little bit if you tune into stuff like what I do, and I help female online entrepreneurs who actually want to take their business idea or their business already operating, infuse technology into it so they can compete with the big dogs out there, but they don't have to pay what the big dogs pay because they can learn how to do it themselves at first and then teach somebody in their organization to take over for them. So I do have that bachelor's degree in business and marketing, and I have had 10 years-ish in the network marketing space, learned a ton in network marketing about building teams and how to deal with people. You can have a business that you own and operate solo and on your own. I have had a brick and mortar store, two of them actually, one a spa, one a floor cover remodeling store. I have a ton of experience in multiple different types of businesses, and I absolutely love helping people create business. Along my journey, some of the things that I have figured out that really are key characteristics of successful entrepreneurs or business owners. Let me share a few of those with you. One is innovative thinking. An entrepreneur has to be creative, and if you aren't creative, having someone with that creative skill set around you is really going to be helpful. You need to be able to come up with new ideas and disrupt traditional ways of doing business, because that's going to be what keeps you ahead of the curve and ahead of your competitors. Risk-taking ability. Successful entrepreneurs are willing to take calculated risks to achieve their goals. Boy, have I taken some risks. Some good, some not so good. Some were really setbacks along the way. But the third thing I'm going to tell you about is resilience. Good, successful entrepreneurs learn how to be resilient. If you've been around me for a little while, you've definitely heard me talk about the beanbag love sack story, where I really had to dig deep and get resilient, because if I didn't, my entrepreneur days were going to be over. You need to learn how to bounce back from failures and setbacks without losing momentum. And I almost did. I did lose a tiny bit of momentum, but I picked right back up in full steam ahead. I went, and not everybody has that skill set. I had people surrounding me that are no longer surrounding me because they just weren't as resilient as I was. And you have to learn how to adapt quickly when things don't go exactly as planned, because as business owners, it's a roller coaster. We won't always have that ability to control everything that's going on around us, and we have to learn how we can handle that appropriately. Strong work ethic. Successful entrepreneurs are hardworking and willing to put in the hours needed to make their business succeed. Consistency and discipline. I talk about these two things all the time. Consistency is absolutely something that is important as an entrepreneur and a business owner, because your customers and the people who count on you and your team are going to need to know and see that you are consistent in all things that you do, so that they can trust you, know you, like you, love you, trust you. Your team needs it. Your customers need it. You have to be consistent. If you're there one day and not the next, or you're sending one message one day to one team member or one staff member and a different message to somebody else, and you are not consistent in your values, consistent in your work ethic, consistent in your showing up, consistent in the mission and the vision of the company, you will have problems. So consistency is very, very important. And then discipline. Some people talk about, is it motivation or is it discipline that's more important? And I will tell you right now, it is absolutely discipline. There are plenty of days that I wake up and I do not want to work out, but it's the discipline of doing it that gets me down there. It is not the motivation. If I had to have motivation every single day to get the job done, it wouldn't happen, because I am not motivated every day. Some days I wake up and I say, I don't want to. And that's going to happen as an entrepreneur. But the discipline and me needing to be consistent and showing up for my team is absolutely what keeps me going. Decisiveness. Successful entrepreneurs need to be able to make decisions quickly and confidently. If there's one thing that I have learned through the last 10 years in network marketing, is there's a lot of people who want to get started in that because they want the time, freedom, and flexibility, but they're not necessarily entrepreneurs or business owners. And so you have a lot of people running around out there pretend doing business, and they have a hard time making decisions because they're generally not confident and lack the skill set of a regular business owner because they've not gone through any of those things yet. They haven't gone through the ups and downs and the situations where they've had to make quick, hard, fast, difficult decisions under pressure. And that's what will really make you a successful entrepreneur, is being able to do that. Your team is going to look towards the person, your staff is going to look towards the person, your customers and the people following you are going to look towards the person who seems confident under pressure, knows the direction they're going, and is determined to hit their goals. That decisiveness is important. People follow decisiveness in someone who can take action. Then there's passion. You absolutely, as an entrepreneur, in order to be successful, in my opinion, because success now is determined or different for each individual, but passion, you can run a business and not be passionate about it. Will it be ultra successful? I'm not sure. If there's not passion behind the owner, the founder, the CEO, the person operating, you have to bring joy to everything that you do, or the people around you will suffer, and so will you too. So they are deeply passionate about their businesses and the value it brings to their customers, always with successful entrepreneurs. Strong leadership skills. They can motivate, inspire, and lead a team towards achieving the business goals pretty easily. Doesn't mean it wasn't a learned skill or behavior, because sometimes we do have to learn those skills and behaviors, but they are definitely strong leaders, and you usually know if someone is successful in their entrepreneurial journey, that their leadership skills are pretty high level. And last but not least, in the known skill sets of a successful entrepreneur, is they're a continuous learner. Successful entrepreneurs are always learning about their industry, their competitors, and ways to improve themselves, their staff, their team members, the people around them, and their business model. And remember, they're resilient. And so when you're learning new things, sometimes you have to plan, do review, and change things up in your business and be flexible and adaptable to those things. So a continuous learner, a successful entrepreneur, is always going to be a continuous learner, and they should be one that is urging the people around them, their high level execs, their staff, their team, to also be continuous learners and pushing personal development. It's one reason why I really love the network marketing industry. It is a highly personally developed field. You will never, I say this about network marketing, I heard it a long time ago, I've adopted the saying, you will never outrank your personal development level in any network marketing business. And I mean, this would go for a traditional business too. If you're, not necessarily the owner and you're trying to work your way up, you're really not going to ever outrank your personal development level. So continuous learner is an absolute must. Okay. Habits of a successful entrepreneur. Successful entrepreneurs foster some of these characteristics. These are my absolute must-haves, must-do, and things that if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, I really suggest that you start adapting to these habits now. They read, which goes along with the personal development thing, right? They read. They are continuously learning. They read 10 minutes a day, 10 pages a day, 100 pages a week, 2 books a month. I don't care what it is. They read. They sleep. Successful entrepreneurs absolutely sleep, and they find sleep very valuable and very important. Are there a few out there that can go on 4 hours of sleep? Sure. I beg to differ that your body is healthy at that point. And I believe that a good, successful entrepreneur needs a good amount of sleep. Rates very high on my scale. Take sleep away from me, you're going to get about just any answer in the book, because I do not do well if I do not have enough sleep. They exercise. Successful entrepreneurs generally, in my opinion, are getting a good, healthy dose of exercise. Now, I'm not talking about they have to be gym rats. I'm talking about they get a little bit of cardio or a little bit of weightlifting most days of the week, and they have a routine of exercise that gets put into their lifestyle. They network. Relationship building is key for a successful entrepreneur. Having that black book that list of people that you can call that are experts in other fields that do other things that you can network with, so that when you need something or they need you, you're there or they're there with their expertise that can add to your skill set. Relationships they're literally a form of gold. They rate very high on a successful entrepreneur scale. They set goals and create plans. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You should have absolutely successful entrepreneurs set goals, and they create plans on how they are going to achieve those goals. They keep their word. Successful entrepreneurs keep their word. That's my form of success. There's plenty of entrepreneurs out there that may not keep their word, but I would beg to differ that they probably won't, most of them, stay in business for very long. They keep their word, they are true to their word, and integrity rates extremely high on their scale. And they, last but not least, set time for self-care. Get a massage, go to the gym, get their nails done, meditate, pray. They take some time to themselves. And it rates really high on their scale because they know that they need some downtime and they need to rest and relax and recoup. Okay, so that's my list of what will make a successful entrepreneur. I hope this was helpful in your entrepreneurial journey. And I hope it was a little mindset makeover for you. There is more to an entrepreneur's journey than just all of the marketing and the branding and the books and the accounting and the products. You really have to work on you, and you have to learn how to become that successful entrepreneur by putting some very key habits and disciplines into your daily routine.